Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's False here. Today I'm going to be reacting to CEO Hayes from Chicago Bulls Central. The name of the video is The Chicago Bulls Continue to Deflate and Disappoint Their Fan Base. Going to be reacting to this, giving some commentary with it, and let's see.
You know, this team is frustrating. It has been frustrating for the whole season. And while my frustrations around this team aren't just centered on them not doing much at the trade deadline, everyone from top to bottom in this organization, from from the owner into the last player on the roster, Tony Bradley, everybody can get it. I'm going to try my best not to let Petty Roosevelt out today, but today is going to be an episode. I just don't know what's coming.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Hayes, and last night was one of the most disgusting displays of coaching, of players not being able to hit shots, of everything that I've ever seen in my life. And usually after games, I have this whole, recap of the game. I don't want to do none of that today because everyone saw what it was. The Bulls went out there and they sucked. That's just what it is. The Bulls sucked. Besides Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic, everybody else sucked last night. Emar.
Now, even though Zach dropped like 40 that night, I'm not going to excuse him. He's been trash this whole season. He's been pathetic. It's not okay at this point. The Bulls are a systematic failure at this point, from GM to, like Hayes was saying, everybody's disappointed. There's no player, no coach, nobody on this Bulls organization right now that's excused from behavior. Zach, this whole season, first we started with him sitting out for load management, like the Bulls were actually good to let that be a possibility. Like we're LeBron or freaking Steph Curry with the freaking Warriors. The Bulls are not that good. We don't have the scoring power. We don't have the defense. We don't have the personnel or the talent to have one of our all-stars, quote-unquote all-star, was it last year, his first all-star break that he got, to be sitting out for load management. If you can play, you need to be on the court. This team is not constructed to be playing without you. This team is barely managing without Lonzo, and you want to sit out at the beginning of the season? That's pathetic. That's weak sportsmanship. You don't have what it takes to lead this team, Zach, and I'm disgusted by your behavior and your lackadaisical attitude so far during the season. You want to know what a real leader looks like? Go look at number one across the street at Soldier Field. That's somebody that, from coaches to the players on both sides of the ball, to the city of Chicago, to people in the national media, believe in this kid. And how long have you been in Chicago and nobody believes in you? We don't even know what you are. You're a quote-unquote all-star. There's no reason to believe in Zach LaVine right now.
Rosen showed back up because the dude plays no D, passive P. He got benched. Billy Donovan said it's not an injury. Basically had no reason. I guess he just wanted to sit there and hold hands with Patrick Williams. But overall, looking at the way that this team played last night was ridiculous, disrespectful to the fan base. And when you just followed earlier in the day, the president of basketball operations, Arturas Karnisovas, came out talking about, why they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. They didn't like what they had. They didn't want to give up what they would have to give up to get the pieces that they want. All that. Okay, listen. Let me address this first. When you have your president of basketball operations sit on a press conference after choosing to do nothing at the trade deadline, and one of the reasons that he said that is he feels that they can make a move in the East with the Brooklyn Nets going to be worse, and then you lose to that Brooklyn Nets team. The bet on continuity, AK, did not work. Now, while I'm not in the camp yet of blow it off,
that I will agree with Hayes on. Right now, there's literally a Bulls channel called the AK Fan Club. No diss to him, but AK right now, that was a 1 year one-off. That was a miracle season. I'm not even worried about that because we're living right here in the right now. AK right now is clown world. He looks like a freaking idiot. We look incompetent. We look weak. There were only two, I think they were saying on ESPN, only two teams did not make a move at the trade deadline. And I think that was us and the Miami Heat. Miami Heat's been to the finals. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Where have we been? We've been to one playoff round. We've been to the first round and we got our butts kicked by freaking Milwaukee. We got freaking our heads bashed in. We were injured, but still, we've only been there once. In how many years? We got embarrassed. This roster, this continuity bet, it failed. Lonzo's out. I'm not even worried about Lonzo coming back if he does come back next year, because who knows how long it's going to take for him to get back to where he was, if he can get back from where he was with this phantom injury that he has. Although he's been cleared medically, he's still having pain. Does he need another surgery? We don't know. At this point, Lonzo to me is a non-factor. We might as well remove him from the roster going forward if we're being realistic, because you can't bet on uncertainties in this league. You're supposed to be a businessman, a financial man, somebody who's supposed to be realistic. That was a bad investment. The bet for Zach to stay in Chicago, like he was a superstar, that was a bad bet. People were saying, even I said it, I'll admit it, that, we should have kept Zach. He was the best available option. There was nothing really on the market. But at this point, if you didn't believe that Zach could take the next step to lead this team, that he has the ability to turn it on and off in clutch moments to perform when we need him to, he hasn't. It's not working. We should have traded him for as much assets or talent in return that we could have that prior season before you gave him the max salary. But what's done is done, so we got to move forward at this point.
All up, I do think that there still are things that can be saved with this team. You got to do better. You got to do more. This team cannot be the same team going in. You hear even in that press conference, AK saying, "Hey, yeah, we want to sign Boots." What? Then extend them, right? The fact of the matter is this: there is not a clear path to this team improving. And like I said yesterday on the post-game show, even the Bulls fans that are of the mindset of let's go full rebuild, I wouldn't even trust AK in a full rebuild. Look at the way that he's drafted. Yes, Patrick Williams got some promise, hasn't developed. Now, some of that is on Billy Donovan. A lot of that is on Patrick Williams as well. But he hasn't developed. I would assume he has regressed in the second year. Maybe it's a sophomore slump. I don't know. But he has.
Real quick, I will say, not only, I will say this. I think more than just hit a slump for Io is that he's overwhelmed right now. This is too much for him. We needed to bring in a true point guard. I like Dragic for what he does off the bench, but he's too old at this point to do what we need. We need a true point guard. Somebody to set up the offense and that can hit a reliable three-point shot from the perimeter, and that's not Io at this point. Io is afraid to take three-point shots, and it's just not working. I still believe in the kid. I think Io's talented, but this is too much for a second-year player to have on his plate right now, and that's part of the coaching. That's part of the GM. That's the issue for P. Will. For me, I've always been a believer. I know Hayes disagrees with this. I think he was better at the small forward. I think he's a little bit overwhelmed with his responsibilities at the power forward. I know Hayes says this is a positionless league, but I think for what he's dealing with the three all-stars on the team, Vooch, Zach, and DeMar, and just because I feel like he's regressed at this point. He's actually regressed worse than what he was prior to his rookie season. That's how bad it's gotten. I think he, if possible, depending on whatever happens with this team, which isn't looking good at this point, he should go back to playing the small forward at this point, because he is just struggling, floundering at the power forward so far.
Has regressed in the second year. Dalen Terry hasn't played. Marko Simonovic, Billy Donovan doesn't even know who he is. So even if we were to hit the flip on a blow it all up switch today, what faith do we have that AK and Eversley are going to draft in a way that we are going to be improved in the next decade? There isn't any signs of that. And that's what's so problematic about this Bulls team, is that everything that you look at, you can point to some signs being there that, hey, I don't even know if that's the right route to go. Are you going to spend enough money? We don't have an ownership group that likes to spend money, so trying to build through free agency doesn't seem like a thing. The front office has drafted really mid so far.
Another issue too, the ownership. That's the other thing. I believe, I don't know if it was Discord or in a super chat. I had message either Hayes or the guys at Windy City Breeze over there with Pat, the designer, that at least Ryan Poles said that, he wouldn't take the GM job if you're going to handicap him. If you're going to hold his hands behind his back because you don't want to spend money, let the man do his job. Why would you take a job where it's like, you know what, I want you to make my team a contender. I want you to make it a championship team again. But you know what? I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to hold one of your hands, but still do it. That makes no sense. If you don't trust me to do the job, I wouldn't take the job.
Also, even the fact of trying to build through the draft, doesn't seem like that's going to be anything that works out either. The stars that you have on this team don't fit. I don't understand why you don't understand that they don't fit. A lot of Bulls fans, we can't trade DeMar DeRozan. No, DeMar needs to go, because at the end of the day, it's this. This isn't even an indictment on DeMar as a player. It's just
not. DeMar
there's no
isn't bad, but it's not working with the roster.
Able to be competitive as far as contending for a title in the window that DeMar DeRozan has left in his NBA career. It just isn't. Makes no sense. Some could say the same thing about Nikola Vucevic. Now, Vuce is a very different player. He can fit on any roster. But the thing is, you don't build around DeMar DeRozan.
That's the only player I'm really not mad at this season. Respect to Vuce. He turned it around from the rough season he had last year, and he's just been holding down. He's been the most consistent player. He's been holding it down in this BS situation that he's in and that the team is in. So respect to Vuce. He's the only one I'm really not mad at. So it's like, what can you do? Really, Vuce, if you, in any attempt or semblance to make this roster and this team work right now, he needs to be the number one option on the team. The ball needs to go through Vuce. He kicks it out. Either Zach takes it or DeMar drives, or one of the other two guys, Io or P, will take a perimeter shot or they kick it.
At this point, you can't build around a player that old who you don't even know how long he's going to be in the NBA. You only have under contract for another year. You can't build around Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine, while he's a great scorer and can be a great scorer, can be a consistent scorer, the fact of the matter is LaVine at best is a number 2 on the championship team and probably a number 3 on the championship team.
I would say number 3 at this point.
Making that roster, we do not have a star on this team that you can build a championship team around. We just don't have it.
True. And we don't have a superstar
in the Brooklyn game, because a star that you can build a team around doesn't lose that game last night. Yeah, yes, every team in the NBA is going to lose games, at least 1, 2, 3, 4 over the course of the season against teams that they should not lose. But this has happened too much for the Chicago Bulls at a time where we should be making the moves, up the standings to try to improve our season. Once again, another losing streak coming for the Chicago Bulls. That's how it happens with this team every single time. And yes, there's still some time to turn it around logically, but this team isn't a team that logic makes any sense. By logic of us beating the better teams in the Eastern Conference, we should be able to take care of business against the sub 500 teams
you would think.
in the NBA. We have not been able to do that.
You would think.
What? Logic don't even work with this
we're
team.
out here like we're the freaking Golden State Warriors.
That leads us to believe that anything is going to improve anytime soon. Now, I've always said, and you guys know, I try to be a very realistic fan, and the way that I host this channel, I try to always be realistic in the way that I view things. I try to view things on both sides. AK has done some good things. Signing DeMar DeRozan, signing Lonzo Ball, signing Alex Caruso at a time where the team technically had no cap space were good moves. Those were smart moves by a GM. But we did those moves, and we had 2.5 months of good basketball since those moves.
Pretty much.
And at some point, the credibility that you built up with those moves that only get you so far, we also have to evaluate what you've done since then. The first year of the trade deadline, it made sense not to do anything. I know some Bulls fans, especially Mark E's bald ass, is going to sit there and say, well, no, they should have did something. No, when you just put together a team, when you completely overturn your roster in less than 12 months, it does not make sense to make big moves at a trade deadline. Minor moves, okay. But there were no minor moves out there for the Chicago Bulls the first year of the trade deadline. This year at the trade deadline, you sat there and you said you didn't want to give up the assets that were necessary or that other teams were requiring for some of the targets that you had. Mm-hmm. You wanted to be sellers. You wanted to add to the team. Let me ask you this. I understand draft capital is rich, and I understand, AK, really, when you look at it, I know a lot of, like, bringing Boots, bringing Lonzo, bringing DeMar in, we really didn't give up that much draft capital when you look at some of the deals that are given out. Now, the way that the NBA trades are working now, Boots, where he was, keep in mind, Boots at that point was an all-star center. Mm-hmm. At that point in time, if the Orlando Magic traded Nikola Vucevic at this trade deadline with the season that he had, the season that we traded for him, they would have gotten 4 first-round picks back, probably 3 and a couple of seconds. We gave it up. We got him for 2 first-round picks, one that was unprotected, one that was heavily protected. It looks like it's going to convey the season. But the Bulls, honestly, in all the things, and you look at deals now, didn't get off that bad in those trades. You gave up 1 first-round pick for DeMar DeRozan because it was a sign-and trade because we didn't have any cap space. Okay, not a terrible deal by the output that he's had, but you haven't done a good enough job building the rest of the team around him. You're holding on to Alex Caruso. You have this high asking price for Alex Caruso. Cool. All right, bet. You have Colton. You have Lonzo's contract. You have Tony Bradley sitting there. You got Javonte Green, who's an expiring contract, who I guarantee, I've been telling you guys all season, it's highly unlikely Javonte Green comes back to this roster because of the money he's probably going to go out and get in free agency, unless the injury concern with the knee turns out to be worse than what we realized. And that's what's so disappointing.
I'm not really a fan of.
We have no clear path to improve in any meaningful way, anytime. And even let's take Bulls fans. I'm looking at that and saying, hey, listen, that sounds good. But what are you going to do then when we start tanking and we get all these draft picks and in the first 5 draft picks we don't got no damn star. Poor roster construction is completely tearing this team down. Mediocre player development is hurting this. Like, the thing is, you brought in Billy Donovan, and you literally said one of the reasons why you brought him in was because of him developing. Guess what? He ain't developed a god.
That's true. That's the second biggest thing I'll crucify AK on. Bill, you extended Billy. What has Billy proved? One playoff round where we got eliminated, and you're already extending him.
A damn thing since he's been on this roster. You sit down P. Will, and again, as we've said and I've talked about before, some of P. Will's lack of development is absolutely on him, but a lot of it is also on the coach. The coach's job is to empower players. The coach's job is to put them in positions to grow. The coach's job is to try to force and have a plan in place of what you want to do with them. We got none of that with this team. None of it. This is what
I believe Billy said his coaching philosophy for the starting lineup, or at least the 3 all-stars, were like, they know what to do. I don't really need to babysit them, tell them what to do, or something along to that lines that he was alluding to. So if they know what to do, why are you here, Billy? Why do we need you? If they already know what to do, if you're not really doing anything, why are you here? They got it right. It's a free for all. They just do whatever you want because that's how the Bulls are playing right now. Do whatever they want. Damn order any type of semblance of freaking structure for this guys, which is one of those other problems. But they got it. They're big time. They're like 2018, 2019 Warriors, right? They're freaking balling. They're hooping. They're godly, Billy. Jesus Christ.
One of the most disgusting versions of the Chicago Bulls that I've ever seen in my life. It's not the worst. We've been through way worse. If you've been a lifelong Bulls fan like me, you've known we've seen way worse than what we're seeing right now.
We probably have. I don't lie, Hayes. I only started really focusing on the Bulls the last 2-3 years.
This team does have talent on them. This team does have talent, but they sat there and they play like.
But to be fair, that's good on my part because the Bulls haven't earned our respect, truthfully, as fans, for us to be watching. They need to earn our respect for us to watch, go to these games, and spend money on them. I believe you have to earn what you want. They haven't earned our respect, haven't really earned any of our money, and that's how you really get people to do things. You don't complain and bitch and whine, really. You hit people in their pockets because money is where you make people listen. Is that really realistically going to happen? No, but truthfully, that's how you make people listen. Hit them in their pockets and they'll start listening. But this ownership is terrible.
Like a bunch of crap. And that is the issue. That is one of the biggest issues here. Is the lack of heart. We saw this team that was built on continuity lose last night to a team that's been together for 10 days.
Shit.
And what has continuity gotten? And I don't mean to be here. I know I have these episodes every once in a while where it's basically just me ranting, but I'm tired. I am tired.
No, fair
and
enough.
Nation is tired. We are in a
I'll
relationship
give it to you, Hayes.
with
You've been
the
trying to
team
keep the
that doesn't
morale
love
up,
us,
but I couldn't.
and they don't give a damn. And let me not.
The Bulls are who we thought they were. I don't even know where that quote comes from. I just seen it on YouTube. But exactly, the Bulls are who we thought they were. They're soft.
Get over this. Fucking the Reinsdorfs have a big part in the issues of this team as well. They absolutely do. Because, yes, AK and Eversley, they absolutely deserve some of our issues with this team. A lot of them. They are the ones leading this team. They are the front man. They are the face. But the Reinsdorf absolutely handhold this team or handcuff this front office in what they're able to do. And that also is disgusting. And the thing is that you have a front office, you have a team, right? A front office that can do some things, that has shown the ability to do something. But it's so depressing right now to be a fan of this franchise because it's listen, I was a White Sox fan for years. The Reinsdorfs don't want to spend money. The Reinsdorfs will see this team struggling. Look at the fact that the United Center is still filled up.
Truthfully, I hate baseball too. But I was there when they won in 2005, but I haven't heard crap from them since. Don't really care for baseball, but I support my Chicago sports, so when they're winning, I'm with them.
Oh, we good. Ownership absolutely gets a big part of this issue as well because the ownership group does not give a damn. You got the Phoenix Suns owner who was literally just asked about doubling their tax bill and signing Kevin Durant. He basically was like, okay, cool. And I'm not expecting that level. Every team can't spend at that level. Every team can. I get that. Spending into the luxury tax does not guarantee that you're going to be a contender. But guess what? When you already have,
but it shows you have serious intent.
You just need a little bit extra on. You need to add some seasoning to. You need to refine. Going into the luxury tax to do that, for example, we had our full mid-level exception this past deadline. The rumors going around that we could have gotten Mo Bamba if we would have given him that same contract, but we're not allowed to go into the luxury tax. Mo Bamba's now on the Los Angeles Lakers after not playing much with the Orlando Magic this season, and watch how they work. Right? We'll see how it ends up turning out. If Mo Bamba now looks more like the player that he did last season, that's that at $10.5 million a year for the way that Mo Bamba was playing last year, that was a steal. But instead of that, we don't have an ownership group that looks at it that way. We have an ownership group that just looks at the dollars and they don't look at the fact of how you can make up a team. Now, AK has done some good work with the cap. I will say this. We can have cap space this season. We can have cap space. We can have $45 million in cap space in the 2014 offseason. But like I said before,
see, my only pushback with that, not that I really know the numbers or anything, Hayes, my issue with that would be people are signed up. Are the Bulls giving the people a reason for them to leave their teams to make these trades to move? Why should I help the Bulls? Why should I mess up what I have going on here to help the Bulls out in these situations? What they have may not be that enticing the other teams to make moves or the other players if they had no trade clauses in their contracts. Chicago's not looking that hot right now. It's already, quote unquote, a weather issue for some people. Chicago's just looking like a hot mess.
Have faith in that because this team is listless. This team is uneventful. This team just it's so hard to have any type of hope for this team. And that's because of the way that they executed. And AK sits up there on his press conference and maybe it is him. Maybe he's sitting there. Maybe he's just as frustrated as us with ownership that doesn't allow him to go into the tax. Maybe he is. He came from Denver, basically a small market team that was able to go into the luxury tax. Now, again, the luxury tax isn't the end-all, be-all, but you got to do something. And while I have been telling you guys for 3 months, I did not expect this trade deadline to bring be anything eventful for the Chicago Bulls. I've been saying that. That's why my frustration isn't just at the lack of activity at the trade deadline. It's the reasoning you gave us and then how this team plays. There's a disconnect between what AK says and the reality of this team that we see, that watch this team night in and night out. And that is the disgusting part of this team. It's not going to change anytime soon. The Bulls that could possibly go on a run, save their season, get out the plane, do some shit. It's still
I would
possible.
not bet
Again,
on
that's
that.
the realism side of me. But I have no faith that they're going to do
realism
it.
has to tell you that is most likely not going to happen. They showed us who they were this season. They're probably going to stay that way.
You can see they play with energy, they play with activity, they play with some heart. Once they got on a run, their confidence got building. This team has no confidence. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the rumors going around that there's a disconnect between Billy Donovan and Zach LaVine. First of all, it came from dumbass David Kaplan. I'm not believing that shit, but it's still something with this team that needs to be fixed. There's a fundamental
explain the cap hate to me, Hayes. I don't really understand that one.
It's cancer that's spread through the whole body of the franchise, from ownership to the front office to the coaching staff to the players to goddamn even the damn cleaning staff of the United Center. There's a full cancer throughout the entirety of this organization, and until you start healing that, listen. Part of its ownership, part of its players, it's a lot of things going on with this team that is causing it to be cancerous. But I don't know if AK has the gall or even has the ability or is empowered enough by the ownership group to do what needs to be done to get the cancer out of this team. And Billy Donovan has to go. I know it's not likely. Let me be clear here.
Yeah, because they already extended him, and it's like if they get rid of him, they still got to pay him. But Billy Donovan, that's clown world right now too. That's serious clown world. Whatever talent we have with this roster right now, Billy is stifling it. He's killing it. He's not making adjustments. He's just Billy literally had 3 all-stars that are going to go down as in the Hall of Fame, and he couldn't win a freaking championship. And he's never been that guy to get you over the hump. Truthfully, can you even say he really developed them guys? But Billy's got to go. He's just not it. Truthfully, if we could, I would like to get the guy from Boston. But I don't know if the Bulls are going to spend that money.
Billy Donovan will not be fine. Giving him an extension, him being close with the Reinsdorfs now, it's not coming. But Billy Donovan is definitely part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? Even in trying, if we were developing the younger players, if we had something to say, hey, listen, this season sucked, but did you see the growth of P. Will? Yeah, this season was rough, but did you see the growth of Io DeStumble? Yeah, this season was rough. Did you see that rookie in Dalen Terry? We don't even have that to say. There are a lot of franchises right now sucking. The Orlando Magic are a bad team, right? But they have something that they can look forward to, right? And even, I know they got Paolo Banchero, but even without Paolo, they still have some things to look forward to. The Utah Jazz are a bad team that's about to get worse with their trade, but they have some pieces on there that they have to look forward to. The Portland Trailblazers have a star in Dame Lillard that they have to look forward to. Yeah. The Indiana Pacers have a young, budding star in Tyrese Halliburton that they have to look forward to. The Charlotte Hornets, it's Michael Jordan ownership group. They ain't got shit to look forward to. The Detroit Pistons are a team that maybe in a couple of years, unless the Bulls make changes, they literally going to be looking at this Bulls team like, hey, little nigga. Like, that's the issue. We are a team that's not only stuck in purgatory, but we're stuck in a position where we don't have much to look forward to.
Yeah, it's about to get worse.
Until the front office does something and gets more aggressive, I get it, falling in love with your own players. I understand that. But you aren't going to improve if everybody on this roster is untouchable. We've heard AK. They didn't plan on moving AK. Kobe, I love Kobe. I love his growth. They don't plan on moving Kobe. Patrick Williams, we know that, quote unquote, he's not
untouchable. He's untouchable.
But the asking price for him is high. Zach LaVine. I don't believe the rumors they were shopping him, but even if they were, cool. But highly unlikely. 4 first-round picks were the rumored part of that deal. Okay, what more are you going to get? More than 4 first-round picks? Like, it's we don't have very much to look forward to on this team.
Nope.
We don't have a clear path to improvement, and it's frustrating. And at this point in time, this is probably the most frustrated I've been as a Bulls fan in a long time. Even the 3 alpha season wasn't this frustrating. But that's my thoughts on it. You guys can let me know what you think down below or email if you listen on the podcast side. But that is it for me. I'm frustrated, and I almost didn't even record.
Yep. Well, from a casual fan perspective myself, the Bulls are sorry. It's not looking good where we go from here, but shout out to Hayes. Always appreciate him for telling the truth out here, along with, Pat from Windy City Breeze. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment in the comment section, and be ready for more content. False out.